Well,
I've
there
got a
was a
lot of
guy
stuff
who,
to do.
there's a developer who's got his license revoked. History of non-compliance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's just talk about him
TK.
quick.
Yes. This
Scarborough
guy.
guy.
What a fucking asshole this guy is. Oh, that's a racism now. It's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
racism.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
only coming after me because of the color of my skin. Everybody's doing it. Yeah, I did it. What? Fuck
15
you.
times. So what?
Yeah,
There's a
don't
reason
worry.
why you are only supposed to build a certain amount of houses depending on the size of builder that you are. There's a reason why um there's Terry on in
Supposed to
effect,
register it. That's
right?
forget about
There's
the
a reason.
total
There's a
amount.
reason for all these things. Now, that being said, when the market goes up, this is the byproduct, not just like you mentioned, not just housing built faster, but like less quality and more
Just
illegal
because it doesn't
builds,
have
stuff
Tarion
like
doesn't
that.
mean it's built worse.
I'm not
Let's be
saying that at
clear
all.
about
I'm just
that.
telling you that I said illegal housing. That's one of the other parts, right? So there's a lot of these things that end up coming from this. And again, it's just, it should be expected. It should be expected. And I don't think that there's going to be more of these that are going to come up than normal and that kind of stuff.
No,
But
but
there'll
the
be a few that
reaction.
should be expected. And hopefully the people who are building houses are the ones with experience. Honestly, I don't
It
even work with
happens all
guys.
the time though. Like people get
Yeah.
their Tarion revoked all the time, but they don't go call the Toronto Star and say it's because of racism.
Yeah.
So you don't hear about it.
Yeah.
I know somebody that got caught building illegal houses before,
Me too.
right?
Yeah.
It's
When the market's
crazy.
going up, it's how things go. So again, should be expected. And
If you're
it's not an
building an
alarming,
illegal house,
it's
don't
not an
fucking tell
alarming
anybody,
thing.
especially the realtor you use, who may not end up selling your house and may end up in a
Yeah.
fight with you
And
at the end of the process.
if you're a realtor and one of your clients is doing this, be very careful. Be very careful because it's always going to fall back on us so if you're helping them buy the
Ooh.
property and then they're building and then they're selling it and you're like, oh, this is so great. I got this builder. I'm such a successful realtor. Look at me. And then when you go to,
And I
collect
get
your
to back
commission and
end
everything
it
like
too.
that, you're
I get
like,
to back end
I'm
this
feeling so
baby.
good about myself. When things don't go well for you, okay? And there's a dispute,
Hmm.
okay? Nobody's going to say he was just making a living for his family. Nobody's going to say he didn't know. No one's going to say it's the builder's fault. They're going to look at the realtor and they're going to say, you sold me this house. You were representing myself as a buyer or the seller as a seller, whoever it was.
You should have told me
And
to
you
look
should
out
have
for
been the one to tell
this.
me what was going on and why I shouldn't have had this, because this is life changing. When people end up getting screwed from buying a new home, it can be really life changing, and you're going to put yourself in the hot seat. And so it's best just to avoid it. To be honest with you, there is no amount of commission. There's lots of good builders out there. The guys I work with are Tarion registered. They all do the same things. Once in a while, I've had to sell some houses that were not Tarion. We do holdbacks and all sorts of stuff, and I make sure that those type of things happen so that when if things do go wrong, the buyer is protected and that there's some sort of warranty. Because if the builder goes bankrupt and there's no money left, like they're coming after you, Mr. Realtor. And I don't care if you have errors and emissions insurance. You don't want that. You don't want those problems.
Well, it's unfortunate because Tarion sucks and they're useless. Okay. They're not good for the consumer by any means. Okay. I mean, they're horrible for the builder, but the consumer is not protected by a long shot. They may make you feel like you're a little bit protected, but the hoops they make people jump through to get things dealt with, or like things that aren't covered, are kind of a travesty, to be quite honest with you. But I mean, that's one of the main reasons I stopped being a builder, is because, like, by the time you adhere to all these regulations and by the time you actually do all the stuff that the city wants you to do, forget about even Tarion. And by the time you leave 50 grand in the kitty for a couple of years for everything that you're building, like, these dollars start adding up like crazy. So like,
Mm.
right, like when you're paying your workers comp and when you're WSIB and you have to have like your license, and every single site has to have like this board of all these things, and you got to have a certain book that, like, there's so many ways that make it so that either the cost of the housing has to go up through these builders or the quality level has to go down so that they can maintain a margin, right? Like there's no win for the consumer with all of these things that go on. So at least, well, the point of my rant, TK, is that at least if you're going to have a fucking governing body, they should be useful and they should protect the consumer. They should make sure that the houses are being built properly. And when they're not, they should actually do something instead of just like doing a PDI walkthrough and taking like, I don't know, 3 years to get the developer or builder to complete like the most mundane little paint issues, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a gross misuse of all kinds of time and funds. And it's really unfortunate. But it's going to be even more necessary going into the environment where we have no labor, ridiculous demand, no supply, and everybody. If you go to my Substack again, you'll see this will be the biggest general contracting boom in history because everybody and their mother will need to make money, and there will be opportunities at every dinner table, at every party, everywhere
I
for
got a
people. I know
guy.
a guy.
I
You
got
know
a
a
guy.
guy?
Yeah, I'll send over. My mom told me a story one time. So my uncle was pretty like high up in Mattamy Homes, not like a executive kind of guy, but he was probably like a site super or something like that. You know, he was a
Ooh,
carpenter, and he would have been
a lot
managing
of
some
money doing that.
sites and stuff like that, right? And yeah, wealthy guy, and definitely successful in all the areas of his life. But she got mad at him because, like, 25 years ago, my dad said, I need to have, this is in the 90s, I need to have some work done. I think it was landscaping. I can't remember. And so my uncle said, yeah, I got a guy, no problem. I'll send them over. And so when it was all said and done, my mom's like, okay, we'll go pay the guys. And my dad's like, no, we got to pay my brother and then he'll pay the guys. And my mom was always like, oh, that was, she didn't like that, right? Because it's
Yeah.
his brother, right? Like he
Yeah.
should be not like taking money off the top. But that's exactly what it was. He had his
Sure.
connections. He got a great deal because he was managing the sites. They probably did it for free. Who knows? And he took his little piece because that's what it was worth, right?
But this is the time when guys are like, let's say guys that, just framers. And it's like they're at a party and I can do that. I know some guys, like he's got a crew of 4 guys that are willing to do fucking anything or say they're able to do anything. And next thing you know, there's a new general contracting company. And I'm telling you, it's happening every day that there's just some guys who were a trade for somebody else or a sub trade for somebody else that just decided, you know what, like I'm smarter than the guy I work for. I could do this. People keep asking me.
Phone in
That
sick
guy's
on
making a
Thursdays.
fortune, right? And
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
Like guaranteed. TK, I put out a tweet of the first house I ever built. Okay. If
Yeah.
I was in the construction business, man, people would be asking me when I could start, like instantly. It spread like crazy. Like, I don't know, 30,000 people looked at this thing because I just put up a picture of a house that I said I built, right?
Yeah.
It was probably because I put up the numbers attached to that deal, like that I
Yeah.
bought it for X and I sold it for Y, and I actually put up those things.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Back in
People were like,
2000,
I want in on that deal.
I want to be able to do that. I want to
Yeah.
be able to do that. And everybody really wants to be able to do that, but they think it's hard, right? Or they think you need tons of money. Like they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how to do it. So they think it's scary, like anything else, right?
Yeah.
But if people thought that they could do it, and there's lots of people that think they can do it, that doesn't mean they can do it. But watch what happens. And those people, they're going to be robbing a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of unfinished projects that like the real guys are going to have to come in and charge triple to fix. It's gonna get messy. And those people become not labor for the real professionals that need labor and need guys in a cycle to learn stuff, right? It's a fucking mess and it's not getting any better.